Welcome back, everybody. Miller McCoy here, CEO of Limitless, and you're watching Limitless Minds, Behind the Brand, or the Closet Cast. Still haven't figured out an exact name that I'm going to go with for this, but all three of them are sweet. One of the comments on one of the TikToks that I posted was from our guy Sandy over there down in Miami, and he said the Closet Cast. I love that. I think it's hilarious. Um, but yeah, this is the second episode, and we're just jumping right into it. I appreciated all the feedback that I got on the first one. I thought it was really cool. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is the second time using all this equipment, and now I've actually got a real camera rolling. We got Polly behind the camera today, um, and that's also the newest kind of full time member here at Limitless, and I'll get into that here. But yeah, this week and last week, things have continued to move forward, making forward progression. I'm in about 2 weeks now on the 75 hard. Additionally, we've been making a lot of good strides on Limitless. We've got Kadoku's contract officially signed. Literally just got off a phone call with the West Coast Customs team. Going to make a few amendments to their contract and get that over to them. But it sounds like they're ready to go and they're ready to jump. Had a really good meeting today with Elliot Carnello. He's a old professional tennis player that is now turned paddle. I didn't really know a whole lot about paddle up until a few months ago, and I believe it's the fastest growing racket sport. So there's like pickleball, there's tennis, there's racquetball, right? All that sort of stuff. And paddle is crazy interesting. It's basically a mixture of pickleball and racquetball. It's played as doubles, but there's a glass wall that gets built around the court, and you can play the ball off the wall. You can hit it outside of the court and run back, run around, run back, hit it, get it back in. And it's just it's a crazy fast paced racket sport. It's really cool. Elliot was showing me a lot of cool clips. They do the LA Invitational out here, which is normally held in Beverly Hills area. And we're just working on doing some merchandise lines for that. Additionally, going to spin that off into the brand that Elliot and his father Peter own is Ace Paddle, and they're great guys. They're from Sweden, and just do a whole lot of paddle stuff. And they're trying to spin off into a lifestyle brand, and working with a few partners down in Miami and all over the place that are just putting up courts and just kind of taking it in. It's inspired me a lot to kind of go play paddle and pickleball. I want to learn paddle at least, and I play a little bit of pickleball here and there. But that thing is phenomenal. It's wild. So that's kind of the first thing that happened. The meeting was at like 8 a.m. today, where I got to meet with Elliot. First time getting to meet him face to face. I've had a ton of phone calls there with Peter and big long email chains with he and Elliot, just kind of narrowing everything in, speaking with our designers, their designers, seeing everything that's been going on in their field is incredible. I guess their court is incredible. Additionally, it sounds like that we're another client win is on Augie Water. And it's this up and coming kind of almost luxurious water company that's tailored towards the likes of like or it'll compete against the likes of like an Evian or like a Mountain Spring or Spring Valley, the big green glass bottles and stuff like that. And they've got a lot of really cool things going on in their corner. That A&R program that I touched on last week, it's coming in through that, right? And so the A&R program is starting to show some real promising signs, which is incredible to see. We've got a few other people this week or next week that we're planning on kind of presenting it to. We got a big music manager that we're just kind of working out the final kinks to on his A&R program with us, and a couple other really kind of network friendly entertainment industry folks that we're trying to also kind of get on board. But we've had nothing but a lot of good love and appreciation coming in from that route. Additionally, I got to use the monetization calculator that I kind of spoke about in the last episode in action in a live meeting towards the end of last week. And that was the first time I kind of really put it to the test in a live scenario, not just kind of fidgeting around on my computer doing it. and it worked. It was phenomenal. Um, the numbers it pulls are actually really accurate. It worked very smooth, and it was able to kind of put into perspective for the person that we were showing it to, just how large some of these merchandise and brand lines can really be, given the right marketing and the right products are actually positioned in the market. So it was really cool being able to get to see that. And going back to the Augie water thing a little bit, it's a really unique product. I mean, it's the product itself is simple. It's water, right? But the way that they're positioning themselves in the market, it's you know how like Liquid Death, their whole thing was let's make water cool again, right? Um, and they did that, and they hit a very specific niche, right? A very specific group of people that drink that water and live religiously by that water and everything like that. And they've done that a phenomenal. They did that phenomenally. Augie Water is taking a similar approach to it. However, the branding is a lot more simplistic, and it's a lot more. It's their logo is a big A, and it's black and clear bottles, right? And the idea is again to kind of make water cool again, but really to make it kind of a fashion statement. You know, um, have the bottle match your fit, and when all the people on Instagram are taking their fit pics, you also see the Augie bottle in their hand, or you see it, close to them on the ground or whatever it might be. And I really like everything that they've got going on. They've got some brilliant minds behind that brand. Um, we're just excited to be kind of a part of the project. We're going to be working on some custom packaging for them, building out their lifestyle brand and their merchandise, as well as kind of seeing how the marketing side, where we can kind of come in, whether it's the content or um, doing ads, anything like that. So we're excited for it. And today I got to speak with one of the guys over at Augie Water, and got to speak to Elliot over at Paddle, and I might figure out a way to kind of pair those two together for the LA Invitational as well. It's a sport event. They need lots of water. Just trying to figure out how I can whittle that in there as well. So I think it's going to be really cool working on a lot of brand strategy for them on the lifestyle side, and just fitting the lifestyle in with the luxury sort of water style that they're trying to take inside of the industry. Additionally, a really big thing that's happened this week is our guy Polly has kind of started full time. He's the If you guys have seen some of the other shorts that Limitless has done, or even I've put a few on my personal page, on my YouTube, stuff like that. The ones that are done very professionally and look correct, those have all been done by Polly. And he's going to make a pivotal part of the team. Limitless first started where we were just kind of doing the manufacturing side of things, right? 5, 6 years ago when I was out here, and I had people just coming up to me, yo, man, your clothes are great. Can you make them for me? Right. That was all just manufacturing stuff. And then Steve, Brett, and I kind of looked at each other and it's like, okay, how can we add the next layer to this? Right. And then we were like, okay, well, let's also offer them design. Right. Okay, great. Now we've got design. Now we've got manufacturing. How can we add another layer to this? That's where we came up with, oh, well, let's figure out warehousing and fulfillment. Boom, got that figured out. Once we got warehousing and fulfillment, what else can we do to make this more sticky? What else can we do to make this better, provide more value? Okay, let's figure out customer service. Got that figured out. And then from there, it was just, a snowball effect, product photography, the product video, right? All that sort of stuff. And for a while, we were working with people that were in our networks and just kind of being dot connectors, right? Okay, so this product works really well with this sort of style, and there's this photographer that does a lot of campaigns like this. Let's pair these things up, right? And a lot of it wasn't fully in house. We just had contractors. But now what we're working on doing is with bringing Polly on is being able to in house that whole entire side where it's creating content for Limitless. Limitless has always been primarily a word of mouth thing. Very rarely have we actually done the ad stuff. Have we really gone crazy with our content? And the word of mouth and referral based it's done numbers for our business. And so we're really looking forward to expanding that into being able to produce the content not only for Limitless and do a very high level of that, and but also to be able to provide that for our clients, right? And also be able to provided as an additional service for the brands that we work with, right? If somebody makes their clothes with us, and before that we made the design for them, and before that we made the website for them, right? And now we're warehousing their product and we're shipping their product and we're answering their customer service emails, but we might as well also help make the content for them, right? And be able to pair the whole package and really try to make this a full incubator by doing it all in-house. Um, and Poly's going to allow us to kind of be able to move in that sort of direction and really be able to put together brand campaigns and internal campaigns that go far and beyond what Steve, Brett, or myself could do. So we're really excited for that sort of stuff. Um, Additionally, with that being said, you'll start seeing a consistent rollout on the content side, not only with podcasts like these, but we're also looking at and expanding into doing some vlogs, doing a ton of short form. We've got a lot of kind of blank garment reviews, and we've got a bunch of educational stuff, but making that consistent and really turning the lever on a lot of the education stuff to be more tasteful and positioned a little bit differently, where it's not just, hey, you need this service because this service can grow your business by this. No. Really doing campaigns where it's like we take a look at like a garment like this or a hat like this and actually be able to dissect it and show you what's good about it, what's bad about it, what we can do to improve it, all that sort of stuff, right? And I'm just really excited for that whole next venture and that whole next leg that's going to be introduced and coming into Limitless. And then the final aspect that we're kind of tying down right now is also the paid ads and the marketing side of things. A lot of the brands that we work with, they already have a really good distribution platform, because they are high level talent, right? And so they've already got a very large audience that kind of follows them. So whether it's their merchandise or or a brand that's untethered to their NIL, their name, image, and likeness, they still have an audience. They still have a network of friends that they can seed these things out to and really be able to do a large push, right? But, when we started this, we were just kind of our own Kickstarter brands, right? And we didn't have that, and we realized as well that that is uh, an issue that's kind of inside of the space. There's tons of different ad agencies out here, especially in the product space, but not a lot of them have the exact knowledge and a lot of the data that's really needed to be able to do a very highly catered um, sort of ad rollout and ad layout, and being able to in-house that in cahoots with our content team and in cahoots with the web team and fulfillment team and everybody like that, we can really make this whole circle just be a beautiful ecosystem that works extremely strongly for a startup brand all the way up to a super highly prospering brand. There's another really big thing I kind of want to touch on there. A lot of brands sell, they go for sellouts, and that is something that is great. It helps build hype, but eventually you get to a point where you realize selling out of your product, if your goal is to make money, selling out of your product is stopping you from making money, because the second that your product is sold out, you can't sell any more of it, right? And so when you do a capsule or a collection release and you have one really hot item that sold out in the first 10 minutes and then everything else is just kind of trickling through, well, you kind of shot yourself in the foot, because that one super hot item that sold out in 10 minutes, well, if you doubled that order quantity or, whatever it may be, you can sell more and more and more. And a lot of people don't really realize. They think like, oh, I sold 1,000 of this product, or, I get 1,000 sales. That's a ton. And don't get me wrong, that is a lot. But when you start putting it in comparison to like an aloe or like uh, a Viore or anything like that, 1,000 units is like nothing, right? You're not even scratching the surface. There's a ton of really big brands out there that are actually moving hundreds of thousands to millions of the same garment. And that's how you're really going to be able to make that major impact in the industry and in your finances and in the growth of the brand, right? There's another thing. I did a LinkedIn post today that kind of talks between uh, the Most people nowadays are selling a clothing line. They're not starting a brand, or they're starting a clothing line. They're not starting a brand, right? And there's two different sides to that world, right? Anybody and everybody can come in nowadays, as the barrier for entry for this whole entire industry has dropped extremely low in the last 10 years. I remember when I was first starting, I had no idea how to. Shopify was still kind of fairly new, right? Um, and the barrier for entry on this whole thing has been extremely low, and a lot of people can kind of just jump in and be able to start their brand and make something very quick and fast, and throw up an ad on an Instagram account and get some famous person rocking it and go sell 500 shirts, and that's it, right? They're chasing trends, and once some of those trends hit, sure, you can add a few bucks to your pocket, great, hoorah, but you're not making an actual impact, right? And that's what's kind of missing right now. And I think within the next few years, there's going to be a major transition back to the brands that are actually making the impact. Right now, through TikTok Shop and through just Instagram shopping and all of the quick content consumption that everybody's so used to, it's making the purchasing and the consumer experience just so now, 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 now. The trends are moving so fast, the brands are popping up so fast, right? Where people are starting to get used to it. But I think that the curve's going to switch. Eventually, it's going to hit an apex, right? Where people are going to start saying, I'm tired of shopping like this. I want to be able to sink my teeth into something that I actually believe in, I stand for, I love, right? Like when 2016 Supreme, obviously nothing's really going to meet that level and that epitome of streetwear and that culture, but um, everybody's trying to replicate it, but they're forgetting the one main thing that Supreme had and they don't, and that's the actual brand aspect, right? Selling clothing is selling product. Selling a brand is selling a story, selling a way that it makes your consumers feel. And that's what's really missing inside of the industry. Everybody's just making product. It looks cool, sure. It feels good, sure. People are styling their outfits good with it, great, right? But there's no story behind it. There's no meaning behind it. And there's a ton of these clothing lines that are popping up that's like, "Oh, I mean this," but you're not actually making a real impact to the culture, right? Most of these times it takes years and years and years to actually make a real impact into the culture and for that impact to be seen and for that impact to be felt, right? Not just a year or whatever, you know? And I I just see that being a very big overlap or a very big missed opportunity right now in the space. Everybody's making a clothing line, nobody's making a brand, right? And you can interchange clothing line for a product, right? Everybody's making a product, they're not making a brand. Um, the brand is what sells what gives the consumers the emotion, it gives them the feelings, it gives them the story. There's really something tangible there beyond the physical product, right? You can put on it. Back in my day, selling sneakers and Supreme and really into that whole entire world, and when I got that new Supreme piece, it felt magical. Nowadays, you know, you can go buy something off StockX, or you can buy something from one of these Instagram shops or TikTok shops or whatever, you get it in, it just feels like another day, right? It feels like you just received an Amazon package, right? Nothing crazy special, but there's nothing like copping something on that Thursday from the Supreme drop, and Wednesday of next week, you're opening up that package. It literally feels like it's Christmas, right? It gave you a magical feeling, and then you wore that following Thursday to school, and you tried to hit again while you're in math class on the next Supreme release, right? Like, not a whole lot of brands are able to kind of give that same allure, that same effect, and I think there's just a giant gap right now, and that whole side is going to be making that comeback very soon here. And when I say soon, I don't mean tomorrow. I don't mean a month from now, but it's going to trickle in over the course of the next couple of years. This thing will hit an apex, and fashion and trends are cyclical, right? They'll come back. And I think the brand aspect is very much needed in today's world. And it's going to make the round back to it, you know? So yeah, I say all that, right? The content side, the ad side, building that ecosystem that actually allows for somebody to have a successful brand, right? Yes, we can work with product lines and clothing lines and everything like that, but where you're really gonna make that impact and where you're really gonna make that difference, not only for yourself, but for the community and for the culture, is to build that brand, be able to have something that can live forever, live without you, pass it on to your kids, right? Whatever it may be. That takes a brand, not a line, not a product line, right? Um, Additionally, after the podcast, I'd gone on to the stories and kind of asked a few questions. What do people want to hear? Um, and there was a few kind of things I think that brand one kind of touched in on a little bit of it. But there were just some generalized questions, I guess, about uh, kind of limitless. And I don't really want to get into that too much, but what I do want to get into is kind of supply chain and the world of supply chain, right? So to make a t-shirt, you it takes there's 1,000 moving parts that make one t-shirt, and there's 1,000 moving parts that make a hat, and there's 1,000 moving parts that make the chair that I'm sitting in, and 1,000 moving parts that make this microphone that I'm speaking into, right? But supply chain in a whole is once you have a deep understanding of supply chain, it almost allows you to be able to offset and be able to make kind of anything, right? You understand all the moving pieces that are behind supply chain and going into making a product, making a clothing piece, making technology. Now, don't get me started on software. That's a whole beast of its own. Um, we're working on that, and I've got a lot of updates on our software that on our dashboard there. But when it comes to tangible or physical products, the supply chain is almost the same, right? There's assembly line, that there's pre-dev, there's development, there's samples, there's approvals. When things are approved, it moves into production. The only thing that's different are the materials and the machinery and the teams that make everything, right? Or the factories and facilities, right? But everything is basically the same. If you can already go ahead and make a t-shirt, you know how to make a hoodie, you know how to make a hat, you know how to make a scarf, you know how to make a skateboard deck, you know how to make a shoe. Yes, you should have a very good understanding of what makes a good scarf or what makes a good shoe or what makes a good hoodie, right? And so there's education and there's knowledge that needs to be gained in those fields to also be able to do that. But once you have an understanding of supply chain and a deep education and knowledge of the product that you're wanting to make, it's the same process. It's the same it's a different assembly line that's making it, but it's the same structure, right? You need to make your mock-ups. You need to make your tech pack. You need to make all your pre-dev stuff. Then you need to develop it. Then you need to sample it. Then you need to approve it. Then you need, or if you don't approve it, then you need to make your changes, right? So supply chain as a whole, with a good understanding of it and with a good understanding of the product that you're getting behind, you can kind of make anything. And that's one of my specialties and where I really live is having a vast understanding of supply chain and product knowledge. Aside from all the e-com stuff and the branding sort of side, right? I have a very good understanding of how to make this water bottle, for an example, or the chair I'm sitting in to the shirt, hat, and pants that I'm currently wearing, you know? Um, and I think that it's a super personally, I think it's a super cool and super fun world that I kind of get to live in with that. It allows for limitless possibilities, right? It's always kind of a corny thing that we say, but we stand by it, right? As long as I have a deep understanding of the product space that we're kind of getting into, and I understand what makes a good product versus what makes a bad product, and I've seen good and bad products, got to feel them, got to learn from them, got to use them, got to test them, all that sort of stuff. Got a very good understanding of how to sink our teeth into it and be able to get it done through the traditional supply chain process, and also ways to disrupt that supply chain process, ways to make it better, ways to make it worse, right? Um, all that sort of stuff. So, uh, yeah, when it comes to supply chain, it's relatively all kind of the same. It's all the same sort of process, just different materials, different teams, different parts. You know, um, yes, the generalized question that I got a lot was, "Can you make this? Can you make that? Can you do this? Can you do that?" The answer is yes, right? And so, uh, yeah, the I'll go back to the ads thing here for a second. as I was saying, there's hundreds. A lot of people can sell out of this product, and that's great, right? It builds that demand, it builds that hype, it shows that credibility that this was a winning product. But what a lot of brands don't do is then recapitalize on the fact that they had a winning product, right? They'll go try to catch another winning product, go try to catch another winning product, go try to catch another winning product when they've already got one that is proven to win. And once you have a product that is proven to win, then you should double down on that winning product, right? Be able to expand into the masses if that's your goal. Some people, that's not their goal, right? Some people, they love the fact that they're limited. They love the fact that only 30 or 100 or 300 or whatever people can have that product. And some brands thrive off of that. And sometimes that also helps with the culture of the brand, right? But if you're looking at like a brand like an Aloe, right? Like a real top level brand, or like, I don't know, like a Nike. Nike's not the best example, but um, a real kind of top level brand in today's industry, they're double downing, triple downing, quadruple downing. They'll be 100 downing on that same product before we know it, right? Putting in larger and larger and bigger POs, purchase orders for the same sort of product. And that's allowing them to really master that product, get better pricing, be able to hit more consumers. And the more consumers that are having it, the more eyes that are going to be able to see it, the more people that are going to be able to purchase it, right? And the ads world, I think, is a lot of times is missing that kind of key fact, right? Or not focused on that key point. They're always trying to catch the next trend. They're always trying to push the next collection or the next product or the next release and whatever it may be. Whereas if you really just focused in on what the winning products were and what the winning products are, and being able to continually improve on those products and be able to find lookalike audiences and similar audiences to the consumers that were already there for that winning product in the first or second release of it, and you just keep expanding upon that, well, that's how you're going to go from selling 1,000 units to starting to sell tens of thousands of units to millions of units, right? That's how that world works. And I think that that's also another big gap that's kind of in today's industry. There's like you can look at Supreme for an example, right? What's their most coveted piece? It's the box logo, right? Now they just did it like Skittles, right? They just taste the rainbow. They just change the color every time, right? But it's the same product. It's the same piece. They just issued it in different colors. Now some colors hold more value depending on the year it was made or whatever it may be, but it's the same exact product, and they're just building bigger and bigger hype behind that one product. And that one product channel allowed them to funnel through a product SKU of 50 to 100 pieces. And, in 2013, 2014 Supreme, yeah, there'd be times where you could go to the website and there'd be products that are out of stock, but then they started rolling out evergreen product, right? Like their underwear, you can now go on there and there's always stuff sitting, right? And to some consumers, that might be like, oh, Supreme's dead, Supreme fell off. And don't get me wrong, compared to where they were, yes, they have. But that allows them to also really capitalize on the whole entire brand and marketplace that they're really in, and always be able to have some level of product that is available to the consumers, right? And the more consumers that are out there wearing the product, the more impact you're going to be able to have, right? There's going to be a few people that are also going to look at it and say, well, then, that doesn't that just make you sell it? Doesn't that make you this, that, the third? That makes the brand less cool, right? Well, to an extent, I understand what you're saying, but also like, what is cool, right? What is cool nowadays? Luxury fashion nowadays is made in the same facility. It is made in the same. It's made using the same products. It's made using the same things that your H&Ms are doing, right? That a luxury bag is made in the same factory that the $50 knockoff bag is made in, right? And there's no real exclusivity now in fashion, right? And what used to make fashion cool was that exclusivity factor. The fact that I have this and you don't, and you can't even get this, right? And that was always a big coveted part of the fashion industry. But in today's world, that's not the case. Everybody has access to it. Yes, there's a handful of pieces, right? If you're looking at like couture and avant-garde wear and stuff like that, or like runway apparel, you're not going to get the exact piece that was off the runway. There's only going to be a couple of those, right? But those pieces are also selling like pieces of art, tens and dozens of thousands of dollars for that. But in today's world, the access that everybody has to, what was once cool has really limited that whole entire world to just making it a free for all, right? If you've got $500, you could go get that thing. Now, I also understand not everybody has $500, especially to drop on a piece of clothing, right? But if you do, you can go get it, right? So is it even cool anymore? So what is cool? What's the new cool, right? That um, the world of fashion today is a lot different than what it once was, right? The exclusivity factor is kind of gone. The luxury factor is really gone. And also, if you look at like luxury brands, the the Chanel clutch bag, I think in like 2016, 2018 or whatever, sold for 5 grand. And in today's world, it sells for like 10 to 12 grand, right? And sure, you could look at inflation, but if you map the two on a chart, the Chanel clutch bag is 500% more than the inflation rate, right? Or whatever the number is. I don't know the exact number, but it's off the chart. The comparison's not true, right? And so they've just outpriced the consumers that they had for it, and they've over accessed the ability to go get that product. Now the Chanel clutch bag's not cool and it's overpriced and there's no hype there and nobody wants them anymore, right? Or if you do want it, you're late on the trend, you're late on the brand, right? Ideally, you love the brand and that's why you want it and that's why you want to go get it. But what is cool now? Luxury world's gone. The real brand and real meaning behind a lot of these clothing lines and product lines, that's out the window, right? So all of this is going to make it's cyclical, right? All this is going to come back, and all this is going to make a big difference and a big impact. So yeah, I think that's kind of all I got. A few key takeaways on this. Really focus on finding winning products. Limitless is really building out that ecosystem to allow brands to really thrive within it and be that true one-stop shop that we've always dreamt and really worked on being. Not just fulfillment and customer service and product manufacturing design now, right? It's really everything now, from the content to the products to the manufacturing to the to the ads to everything that's under the sun of really growing and scaling and incubating a brand and accelerating it. That's what we do. Additionally, finding the culture that's going to be behind your brand. And there's actually something I'll touch on real quickly there. It's finding your why. I did this as an exercise when I first really got into running. About 3 to 4 months into my running career and running journey, I was pushing and hitting more and more mileage and going further and further. And one thing that really allowed me to do that, one thing that I noticed through other runners and endurance athletes, is finding that why. And I want people to do this exercise for their own brands, right? Find the why. Why do we exist? Why do we do what we do? Why are we trying to make a difference? Or why not, right? But finding your why behind why you're doing anything, it's probably one of the most important factors you can have for an individual, for a brand, or for anything that you're going to do and conquer in life. So yeah, next episode, I hope to have a guest on here, go through a few more things, and be able to just continue this out. So I thank all you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Go check us out on the other socials. I'll leave all the links below in the description. And if you guys enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below what you want to hear more of, learn more about, or who you want to see on the next episode of this podcast. Thanks, guys. Miller McCoy from Limitless, out.